By the time April 18th rolls around, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. will have been out of the ring for 13 months. Remember his last fight, it was March the 1st, if I'm correct, 2014 against Brian Vera, was, basically a rematch to a fight where a lot of fans feel he should have lost or it should have been a draw, whatever the case may be. Chavez Jr. is a big guy. Now, he's going to be taking on, or supposed to be taking on, Andrzej Fonfara, April the 18th, 2015. No venue has been announced yet. And if you don't know, or if you've been living under a rock, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is now an Al Haymon fighter. Now, what does that mean? Thank you, Al Haymon. What does that mean? That means that there's only a certain amount of fights, a certain number of fighters that he can fight or would be easy for fights to be made with. Adonis Stevenson, if he's fighting at heavyweight. You got Lucien Bute, Anthony, Andre, Dirrell, Sakio, Bika, and I'm sure I'm probably missing some names, of course. But looking at the fact that, Bob Arum is pretty pissed off and pretty persistent saying that Chavez Jr. owes Top Rank one more fight. Now, from my understanding, Bob Arum is a hell of a boxing promoter when it comes to his contracts. And I don't see how Chavez Jr. can get out of this contract. Now, one thing I've said is that maybe the negotiations with Mayweather versus Pacquiao may have something to do with this, meaning that maybe if Bob Arum, Top Rank, and Al Haymon are working together for that fight, they're saying basically, let's get this little one out of the way real quick. But for some reason, it seems as though Bob Arum is pretty bitter on the way Chavez Jr. has handled the situation. So to backtrack, Chavez Jr. was offered somewhere around $2.2 million to take on Gennady Golovkin with a Top Rank extension. Without that extension, it was something like, I forgot how much it was. I know it was over $1 million. I believe it was like 1.1 or 1.5, something like that. I did the video not too long ago. Go back and check the numbers on the videos I did previously. So looking at it now, I'm thinking to myself, okay, we know that he can't fight Carl Froch, and part of the reason, in my opinion, is I'm thinking that, Bob Arum is on some shit like, listen, you definitely ain't fighting no Carl Froch. So now they're trying to get Chavez Jr. into the ring with Fonfara, who's a light heavyweight, by the way. And they're trying to have that fight in April. There's been no venue. But once again, I asked myself, how is Bob Arum going to allow this to go down? So it's hard to talk about the fight. Now, Chavez Jr. gave an interview himself with ESPN Deportes. And I actually tried to get the audio for you, like I said. But, for some reason, probably since I'm uploading so many videos, it's taking a little long. But hold up, wait. Let me see if I can click it. But for him being out of action so long, I'm thinking to myself, him taking a Fonfara fight at light heavyweight, that's going to be a major fight. And, truth be told, he better win. So people should appreciate this fight, because if you look what Fonfara did to Adonis Stevenson, think about the fact that Chavez Jr. has never fought at light heavyweight. Okay, yeah, he did fight Brian Vera, but he's never fought a light heavyweight before. Remember, Chavez Jr. at one point in time was a 147-pounder. And looking at him right now in this interview, he's looking like he's walking around at about a cool 200, 210. So it's like, this is a big dude. So, he's saying in the interview, since I can't play it right now, that fans always said he was beating up on smaller fighters. Now he's fighting a bigger fighter. And personally, in my opinion, it's a credible fight for him. And it's also a fight where he's actually going to be tested. Now, as far as the network is concerned, I'm hearing I'm hearing from Chavez Jr. himself in the interview. Once again, go check it out at ESPN Deportes. I'll put the link right down below. Is that he would love to fight on national television. National television means more fans. Will this be an NBC, main event fight? I think it should. Will it be an NBC fight that will come on in the afternoon? I think it should. Will it be primetime NBC? I just don't know. So, and if you don't know, Al Haymon only has about, if I'm correct, 5 primetime Saturday night regular NBC national televised fights. So he wanted to use them carefully. And he has something like 6 afternoon NBC national television fights. And he has something like 9 or 11, I believe it's 11, 9 or 11. 9 dates. If I said 5 and 6, then 9 dates with NBC Sports mixed in. Some will be primetime NBC Sports. Some will be regular NBC Sports. Meaning afternoon. So how does Chavez Jr. fit in there? Remember, Chavez Jr. somehow, some way, has a large fan base of Mexican fans, of course, but also American fans. Chavez Jr. can fight on pay-per-view, and that's the reason why a guy like Carl Froch go get his elbow fixed to make sure his last fight, if there is one, is against Chavez Jr. Bob Arum knows that Chavez Jr., despite the fact that he does all the crap, well, actually, his lifestyle has been pretty clean. He's training every day and everything like that. He's not walking around at his weight, but for the most part, you know, he's in shape. So, looking at the fact that, well, Bob Arum knows that Chavez Jr. is a big pay-per-view attraction. Fans, we know he is because we would love to see him versus Golovkin, and we would buy that on pay-per-view. So, as it stands right now, you know, the story is developing. I really don't know what else too much say about it because now I don't have my audio to play. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and especially how is this fight going to happen? Like, is Bob Arum going to be sitting home on April the 18th? Like, God damn it, he's not supposed to be fighting. So Chavez Jr. is saying that his lawyers say it's cool for you to fight, and he said he definitely will be fighting. But then Bob Arum is saying, no, the lawyers are saying, you know, he cannot fight. So it's going to be crazy. And when it comes to a legal dispute like that, I'm leaning more towards Bob Arum, and I'm sorry. T Street Controversy.